In the late 19th century, British India was deeply fractured along socio-religious lines. Hindus and Muslims often lived adjacent to one another, but strict orthodox boundaries kept their spiritual and social lives rigidly separate. Into this tense environment walked an unknown, nameless 16-year-old boy, bitter cold. The locals didn't know what to make of him. Believing the silent ascetic to be completely mad, village children regularly threw stones at him. After a short time, he vanished completely. When he permanently returned to Shirdi around 1858, his appearance had changed. He now wore a knee-length, one-piece robe called a kafni, along with a cloth cap, attire that explicitly signaled to the village that he was a Sufi Muslim fakir. He took up residence in an old, abandoned mosque. But in a confusing twist for the villagers, this man who dressed like a Muslim ascetic gave his mosque a deeply Hindu name, Dwarakamai. In an era of deadly sectarian divides, Shirdi became the site of a radical experiment, a space where the simple act of naming a building challenged the religious logic of the entire region. He outright refused to answer questions about his origins or his birth religion. This calculated silence left a permanent vacuum, prompting both Hindus and Muslims to claim him as one of their own. Eventually, a local Hindu priest named Mahalasapati began greeting him with the title Sai, a term meaning saint or god. From that point on, the ascetic in the Muslim robe carried a cross-cultural honorific, Sai Baba. Inside the Dwarakamai Mosque, he designed a daily routine that forced opposing traditions into the same room. He listened to Islamic qawwali music and verses daily, while simultaneously maintaining a duni, a perpetual sacred fire drawn directly from Hindu rituals. From this fire, he harvested udi, or sacred ash. He distributed this ash to every person who visited him, prescribing it as a universal remedy for both physical illness and spiritual distress. When visitors sought guidance, he didn't hand them a unified rulebook. He customized his prescriptions to the individual's background, instructing his Muslim followers to study the Quran and his Hindu followers to read the Bhagavad Gita or the Ramayana. By refusing to prioritize one scripture over another, he avoided creating a competing religion. Instead, he built a neutral zone where traditional orthodoxies effectively canceled each other out. To see how he achieved this, look at this diagram. Instead of imposing complex theology, he required only two behavioral pillars from his followers, Shraddha, meaning absolute faith, and Saburi, meaning patience. These two traits cleanly bridged distinct theological concepts. The pillar of Shraddha aligns closely with Advaita Vedanta, the Hindu philosophy of non-dualism. The pillar of Saburi connects to the mystical practices of Islamic Sufism. They are different pillars supporting the exact same roof. He reinforced this structure verbally. He frequently used the Islamic phrase, Allah rakhega vaya rahena, submit to Allah's will, while simultaneously teaching the Hindu bhakti philosophy that the literal light of God exists in every living creature. Outside the mosque, society was governed by strict caste and class hierarchies. Inside, Sai Baba welcomed outcasts, the destitute, and those suffering from contagious diseases, treating them with the exact same respect as wealthy merchants. By welcoming the untouchable and the diseased with the same reverence as the priest, he made equal treatment the primary expression of devotion. By September of 1918, his health began to fail. He passed away on October 15th, a date that quietly mirrored his life's work, as it happened to coincide exactly with the major Hindu festival of Vijayadashami. He left behind a massive organizational void. He appointed no spiritual heir, named no formal disciples, and completely refused to provide diksha, the traditional rites of formal initiation. Typically, the lack of a succession plan fractures a group, but here, the absence of rigid dogma and hierarchy accelerated the movement. Followers across the country built their own organic devotion instead of fighting over bureaucratic control. Without a central authority to contain it, the localized devotion of a small village spread organically, evolving into a global movement defined by individual practice rather than institutional command. Today, the Shirdi pilgrimage is a massive operation. An average of 25,000 visitors arrive at this exact complex every single day, participating in a continuous cycle of 4 daily artis, or prayer rituals, dating back to when he was alive. This devotion expanded outward, heavily impacting northern India. In 1968, the movement reached a major milestone with the establishment of the Shirdi Sai Baba Temple in Lodi Road, New Delhi. The construction of the Lodi Road Temple relied on highly unorthodox funding. Donations poured in from local film distributors, and money was raised by hosting Islamic Qawwali music performances, a strategy that perfectly mirrored Sai Baba's original syncretism. When a massive fire damaged that temple in 2002, the diverse community refused to abandon it. Relying on his teachings of Shraddha and Saburi, they pooled their resources and rebuilt the structure stronger than before. Sai Baba lived entirely in the friction between orthodoxies. His legacy remains a demonstration that the shared needs of the thirsty, the hungry, and the seeker matter more than the